MultimediaJay Radio Style.
So I really wanted to do something besides audio commentaries tonight, but those of you who follow me on Twitter know that I had a little bit of a sound issue. I found out, see, when I first installed Windows 10 a while back, I found out that Creative wasn't going to have official support for my sound card until October, and I was like, oh wait, it's October now. And they did manage to make their deadline, or their stated goal, I should say. They did manage to get a sound driver. Creative did manage to post a sound driver by October. They posted it at the end of September. I went to install it, I installed the thing to see how it worked, and it sucked. So the unofficial drivers have actually worked better than the official drivers. The most I've had, sometimes sound stops popping, and I have to close and reopen the program that was making the sound in order to get the popping to stop. But that's only after clicking in and out of the program several times, again and again and again. Instead of, but with the official drivers, I get no stereo, no surround sound, none of the fancy software like the mixer software or the encoder access to set your encoder to DTS or Dolby Digital. None of that stuff works. You get soup can fidelity sound that takes a gaming machine like mine with a custom put together sound system. Yeah, custom as in a mix of gear, but still something I put together myself. It takes something like that, and it makes it on par with the built-in speakers in a crappy laptop. No thanks. Then I tried to get the best of both worlds. I tried to get official drivers with unofficial software, and then Audacity wouldn't recognize any recording devices. So I'm back on the unofficial drivers for the foreseeable future, and I'm going to bookmark. I have the thread bookmarked, actually, that I can go back to check for new versions of this. It's like I'm a Linux user here. I'm looking for drivers from independent coders on forums in communities and stuff instead of the people that actually make the piece of hardware. And that is an embarrassment. You know, creative drivers has been a swear word among multimedia folks like myself for a very long time, and it looks like Creative isn't keen on changing things anytime soon. But that is another discussion for another day. How about we get to what we actually want to talk about, and that is techno-bureaucracy. More on techno-bureaucracy. Now, in case by wild and crazy chance, there's some people that are new to this joke in the audience this go-around, whenever I make a video with moron in the title, moron sounds like moron. So, at some point, we're going to be making a reference to morons. This time around, though, it's going to be very, very easy because we've already spent 25 minutes talking about the morons in this case. Oh, yes, the techno-bureaucrats, the people that take tech support and turn it into an absolute nightmare of, sorry, you opened the wrong ticket, and they play ticket tennis, and they play ticket volleyball, and they insult you and condescend on you and demean you, and they break one of the fundamental rules of dealing with random people anywhere, and that is don't make too many assumptions, or if you do, don't make them very easy to discern because you don't know who you're speaking to. And in the case of the disrespect that I've taken this entire week from these so-called support people, specifically one in particular who has a bad reputation for a bad attitude, with the crap that I've taken this week, it's a classic example. She's probably used to working with folks who are more warehousey with their backgrounds, don't know hardly anything, but I've already hinted to people on her team that I know things like what a workstation ID is and that they are numbered in accordance with you can't have multiple sessions open, things like that. So I've gotten little smileys in the emails from other people on the team that, oh, you understand some of this technical stuff. I don't have to explain it to you. But not this person. It's disrespect, condescension, and it's like grade school. Think like a stereotypical grade school teacher rapping kids on the wrist with a ruler, which isn't allowed anymore, but people still reference it from time to time as some kind of bad old days type stereotype or whatever you want to call it. But that's kind of the situation that I was in. A little bit of disrespect, a little bit of condescension, a little bit jazz, a little bit rock and roll. Well, no, both jazz or rock, either jazz or rock and roll would have been better than this crap that I've taken this week. So, okay, about what happened last time. So I posted that rant. I recorded it on Thursday and got it uploaded for Friday, but blew off turning it on YouTube for a while because I was doing something that my dad tends to do whenever he's faced with stuff that he's really fired up about. He likes to see if it's still a good idea the following day in some way, shape, or form. Wait 24 hours, wait a calendar day, or wait until tomorrow. In this case, it wasn't 24 hours since I finished recording that, and as to whether or not it was still a good idea to upload. So I was like, you know what? This is kind of a cliffhanger. I'm ranting and hamming up discussions about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. How are we going to fit Friday into this? And so I decided to wait until end of business Friday to see if the IT folks were going to redeem themselves in any way, shape, or form. Well, the techno-bureaucrats anyways, maybe catch the error of their ways and try to fix the printer issues that I was dealing with all week. So, and it's all because of the warehouse management database system that runs the building. It's not that we can't install a printer or I can't install a printer. In Windows, we have a print server. Outside of the WMS, we have a print server set up where you literally just right-click and connect, and it works. It downloads the drivers automatically, sets everything up, 2 clicks, and you're done. Not so with this warehouse management system that still uses text-style inputs and a terminal program to do everything on. So I understand we're supposed to be getting a newer system that might have a graphic user interface, which should help a lot with certain things here and there. But we'll see how that works when it gets here. But for now, we're stuck with the jalopy. And apparently, it's crazy to expect specialists to be able to get a printer working properly within the span of a week. So what I'm here today to do is to finish up the discussion on techno-bureaucracy, close the book on the story from this week, and just finish up the discussion on the topic so we can move on, for crying out loud. There's news articles that I could be signing off on that I'm missing out on signing off on. Or signing off? What am I, like, release forms or something? No, sounding off on. See, this week has messed with me so much. I'm mixing up sounding off and signing off. Yeah, why don't you sign off on someone else's bad behavior so they don't get held accountable for it? No. We're not talking about that here. Okay, let's finish the discussion on techno-bureaucracy. So previously we talked about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. How'd everything end up on Friday? More of the same, unfortunately, and it was sad because we have Columbus Day coming up, so our volume drops off because there's a drop in order volume whenever we have Monday holidays. And basically, this was the perfect day to do lots of experimenting because the order waves were half the size of what they've been the previous days of the week. Usually we drop orders when we get up to 1,000 queued up, so everything stays nice and dense and our selectors aren't making extra trips or things along those lines. It's an efficiency thing. There's also the conveyor system is good at X amount of Bartons? What the? Boxes. It's like box and carton at the same time, Bartons. Yeah, there we go. The conveyor system runs optimally if we're putting X amount of conveyors. If we're putting X amount of cartons on the belt within a certain time period at any given time. You don't want the belts to be empty because it's a waste of a lot of stuff, and you don't want them to be too full because then they jam the heck in. You got to be clearing box jams and getting new boxes and things like that. But so yeah, it all boils down to how we run the building and keeping things efficient with the tools that we have and things along those lines. So yeah, we usually have this week we had 1,000-ish per order wave, and we were down to 500. So half the volume at a time that we were taking on, and we were running out of work. So that's part of it too. The volume was so thin that everybody kept devouring everything. We had to keep dropping more work and stuff like that. So yeah, everything was light. They were asking folks to go home early. I wasn't one of the lucky ones, unfortunately, because I was dealing with technical glitches and waiting for people to call me back who weren't calling me back. Thank you very much. Yeah, so Friday is usually quiet at this place because we're finishing up the week's work, basically. And this was no exception. It was the perfect day to experiment. Did I get to do much experimenting with some of these printer issues? No, I didn't, because the same people that were causing trouble Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday picked right back up on Friday, blaming each other, playing ticket tennis, ticket volleyball. It's their fault. I've done my job. Blah, 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 blah. And this time, we were sick of it. Myself, the supervisor I've been working with on this, and now the FC director got involved. Yeah, he was ready to lower the boom if we got the wrong phone call back after lunch, that's for sure. We eventually decided to start breaking the rules. You're not supposed to talk to individual analysts, technicians, etc. directly. You're supposed to go through the proper channels and open the ticket, and it needs to get assigned to them by whoever's in charge or whatever. We broke the rules and went to somebody that we knew was friendly and knowledgeable and we'd worked with before. So, hey, can you help us with this, etc., etc., etc. He never responded. So the Techno IRS wins. And here's the problem. Monday holidays, we usually have technical glitches because of weird stuff over the holiday weekend. Things and whatever maintenance is done because the volume drops off, so people work on the systems and things are weird Monday morning. So we might need that backup computer and printer on Monday if packing slips aren't printing properly. So what I spent a good chunk of my time this week working on that multiple teams of techno-bureaucrats couldn't get working, we might need on Monday or Tuesday morning. More egg on their face if we have problems. And more of every single point I made in that hammed up rant being absolutely, positively 100% correct. This takes technology and it breaks it, folks. It just ruins it. It just poisons it. You want to know why people who aren't into technology hate it so much, those that hate technology? It's stuff like this. This makes everyone look bad, and in the case of the business, it hurts the entire business. And I'm sick of dealing with it. I've been dealing with this from help desk technicians, local technicians, regional technicians, people who are a little bit too far away from the operations as far as I'm concerned. You know, I've been dealing with this stuff for a long time, and I've never seen this much nonsense in a single incident as what I saw this week, and that was why I ranted. We made no progress. We even offered them a consolation prize. We even would settle for a simpler configuration on the printer. If they could get that working, then we'd be fine. They failed at that too. So Monday is a giant question mark now. And any crap we have on Monday. Oh, wait, and that's right. There's conveyor work being done this weekend for one of the projects that I should be working on if I wasn't tied up with this printer rubbish. So we might have both hardware and software issues on Monday morning. So, a massive failure and the single biggest team dysfunction that I've seen from this crap ever. 10 plus years of dealing with bureaucracy and help desks and people giving me the runaround, and this is the worst I've seen. Terrible. So we'll see what happens on Monday. So the week did not end well. I got home, did my little exasperated because I got home, kicked off my shoes, bid the work week adieu, and pushed the green button on the rant video, which I had kept in limbo for the better part of the day, in case things turned around, but people still wanted to cause nonsense, therefore I posted it. And you know what? I regret nothing, because among my local team at least, I would get a lot of hell yeahs. I know the supervisor and the director would give me some hell yeahs on those points, quietly, and on their own, looking on their own personal computer at home. Hi, folks, how you doing? Yeah, they'd agree with me. The director would be a lot more professional about it, because he actually has a little bit of executive experience on his belt, so he has got away from the rat race to come run our building. Hey, well, hope he enjoys the break. He looks like he's enjoying it anyways. So, yeah, indeed. So, that's the end of the story. Now, how about we finish up our discussion on the topic before this becomes another 25-minute ramble fest, if I didn't just jinx everything. So, regarding techno-bureaucracy, it's an insult to somebody like me. I love technology, and I love the people side of it, getting people excited about something. You know, getting past the technophobia and the barriers and pulling things like what Steve Jobs used to do with Macintosh and stuff like that back in the 80s, where, hey, get excited, everybody, because you don't have to learn how to use computers to use computers. You know, I've worked with technicians who actually get their kicks off of confusing people. They love tossing the jargon around because they think it makes them look smart. And at the end of the day, they can't communicate. They can't tell anyone anything, and that's why they wind up in disposable data center jobs locked away from people instead of being assertive and affecting the business and being viewed as value added in ways other than this guy can change tapes if we lock him away in some room away from people forever and ever and ever. Or wire things up, or fix the spaghetti in the server room. Oh wait, we contract that stuff out nowadays, or at least a lot of folks do. That gets outsourced. So, funny how that works. So yeah, this combination of computers and business has worked extremely well for me in terms of helping me avoid some of the nonsense I've heard about from disgruntled IT workers who hit rock bottom during the recession. It didn't save me from getting laid off once, though, because of the same crap that the folks that these videos are dedicated to have to deal with. Specifically the local technicians, the more personable ones that I've mentioned earlier. These people, I mentioned this in the description in the rant, but I'm going to say it as part of the actual discussion this go-round. When you're a local technician and you have a bunch of techno-bureaucrats in addition to what you do, you go to work every day having to keep at least in the back of your mind that you could get laid off at any moment because you can be viewed as disposable or replaceable because the snoots in suits who think in terms of bean counter stuff all the time might be like, now, we have an IT help desk, and we have technicians that can solve a lot of problems remotely. Do we really need this local guy anymore? And so the position gets eliminated. They get laid off, and crap happens to them because they were laid off, all that crap and things like that. And then they find out the hard way, oh, no, they actually did add value. Shoot, we got rid of somebody good. Nuts. What are we going to do now? Because that local being able to respond to things quickly or being able to respond to little stuff quickly. I mean, we're talking in a situation like where I am. If there was no local people that knew what they were doing, we'd have supervisors trying to get their payroll done or their staffing plans done that would not know how to do something in Excel and lose 10 minutes trying to learn what like a VLOOKUP formula is because they'd have to call the help desk, go through the proper channels, get put on hold for a minimum of 3 minutes because it seems like our help desk folks, I joke about it because it happens every single time. No matter who you call at the level 1 support, they will put you on hold for at least 3 minutes to run things by their supervisor. And sometimes their hold music isn't working, so you think they hung up on you, except you don't get a dial tone after X amount of seconds, or please hang up and try your call again, or one of those deals. It's like, and that's the thing. That's what these supervisors would have to go through. Instead of, oh yeah, I know Excel. Yeah, you do it like this. Boom, done. You're talking seconds or minutes. Well, no, minutes. 10 minutes, still minutes. But you're talking a much shorter resolution time than 10 minutes. Just because, hey, somebody can ask in the building. And so that's really it. Personally, if I was in a company with a combination tech support system, I would bias towards local because that's actually the way that these outsourced help desks like what we have were presented to us years and years ago. It was presented as a scalable solution, which is business ease for they can hire and fire all over the place. So they can make it as big or as small as necessary. And what that could mean is that there's backup. There's always an appropriate amount of backup available if the local folks are too busy. But instead, things went top heavy, and it became more about, we already have a help desk. Do we really need this local person when we have a scalable, adjustable, flexible solution to our business needs? Do we really need this local person, or can their position be eliminated so we can pocket those salary dollars? Oh, yes. Yes. Well, maybe not in that tone of voice, but if you've been around people that are efficiency experts or play those games, then Office Space was satire, but sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. I actually knew of one local technician, one of the contractors who works on the print stuff. He got laid off and rehired as an independent contractor before the company that he used to work for subcontracted out to a smaller company that gets subcontracted to, and he just joined them with his clientele, which included us. So Shenanigans happen, folks. Recession's long over, but the shenanigans can still happen out there. If there's some greedy bastard that can think that, they can come up with an excuse to pull one of them old Great Recession stunts, they'll do it. It's like Kohlberg's pre-conventional morality. Some people only follow rules when they're scared as heck of their ass being in the fire and being punished. So that's where the whole thing with techno-bureaucracy. And we're past the 20-minute mark, so I'd better not make this into a 25-minute ordeal, so let's just settle for a 20-minute blah, 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 blah fest instead. Techno-bureaucracy is a poison when it comes to technology. It takes one of the best things about technology, the focus on efficiency and continuous improvement and all kinds of great stuff like that. The thing that makes us wonder, where were these devices and where was this stuff all our lives prior to finding out about it? All of this stuff, it's ruined by, let's make things as unnecessarily complicated as possible. And in the name of what? SOPs, carving out a job for oneself, keeping their workload under control by artificially deflecting anybody else having issues instead of stepping up your game and hustling. Yeah, there's bad stuff with techno-bureaucracy at the core of it. Just like there's bad stuff at the core of bureaucracy in general. That's why the business books rail about it. That's why I absolutely can't stand it. And that's why I've just dedicated nearly an hour of discussion time between these two uploads to this topic. Let's hope I don't have to come back to talking about this stuff again anytime soon. No promises. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay, signing off. Thanks for stopping by.